Ladies, would you like women-only cars in trains or subway trains in your country? There was this viral post on the Reddit front page yesterday as shown in the below image about women-only cars in the subway in Malaysia. X200B. X200B. The women-only cars are of course for women to be safer in the subway, away from sexual harassment, groping, taking upskirt pics, etc. by men. And many comments were like countries like Japan, India, Taiwan, etc. also have women-only cars in the subway trains. Every country should have them. X200B. But then again, of course there were a lot of comments from men, like, "This is segregation, this is inequality and discrimination against men-only barbaric countries. Like Asian countries or Islam countries like Malaysia need them. Men in our Western countries are not all rapists blah, blah, blah." X200B. So, I was wondering what women around the world think. Ladies, would you like women-only cars in the trains or subway trains in your country if you have to use trains subway? Yes or no? I was gonna create a poll, but there's no poll option in this sub. So, please, leave a comment. Yes or no, and maybe the name of your country too, if you can. X200B. Step 1. Have a train system. I live in Japan. They have these and I almost exclusively take them. I really like having one less thing to be paranoid about. Not all men, but I've never had a woman jerk off next to me on BART. Of course. Yes. But how would you control for that? People got killed for enforcing rules to wear a mask. I don't see my government spending money to enhance the safety for women. I got groped up my ass crack on the London Underground when I was 12 years old, so yeah. If there was the option to sit in the ladies section, I would totally take it. Yes, absolutely yes. I don't have enough fingers to count the times I was harassed in a train just this year. It's not segregation. It's a safe space. But men cry out every time. A city nearby suggested to have a women-only day at the fair so that women can go and not be groped, and the public outcry from men was insane. Personally, I've been left alone on the subway and trains here in Finland. Well, I've been talked to by all kinds of people, but no sexual harassment. So my own experience is I wouldn't really care one way or the other. However, I've witnessed and indirectly heard of many unpleasant and even dangerous instances. So I want to look past my own interests. These would be good. Living next to Malaysia in Singapore, and yes, I'm sick of the men in my country complaining that they're going to get wrongfully accused of sexual assault just for standing next to a woman in the subway. This is the best solution going forward. My country is generally safe. Netherlands. I have never in my life been attacked on a train, and nobody that I know has been attacked. If it happens, it is almost national news. Although of course incidents occur. Same for buses. They are safe generally. Subway will probably be less safe to groping. But again, never heard anybody complain about this. I live in Mexico City and we have women-only areas on the metro, buses, and platforms. It's awesome, and I wish we had them in the US since men can't seem to behave. The platforms here are enforced by police, so men don't try to wait there. I've never seen men in the women's car on the metro, and the few times I've seen them try to ride in the women's part of the bus, passengers confronted them, determined their reason for being there was bullshit, elderly or in a wheelchair is allowed, and made them leave. One time a guy was stubborn until an abuelita smacked him with her purse and he fled, tail between his legs. Back in the Victorian era, women-only carriages became a thing after a woman was murdered. They were eventually done away with after people complained. So some women took to using their hatpins to defend themselves from predators by either holding them in their hand or putting them in their mouths to prevent strange men from kissing them. Then people complained about the hatpins. No, not in the US. Men are too crazy here and we have too many guns. Those women would be sitting ducks. Wah, I can't put my grubby hands on women now. Wah, I'm losing access to making women uncomfortable. Rah, how dare these women want safe spaces? Don't they know that all women revolve around me? Pouting is what they really mean when they claim it's segregation and discriminatory. You don't need to be around women every time you step out of your house. And safe spaces for us isn't hurting you one bit. In my opinion, all these solutions are like hiding your head in the sand. The real problem is not women or minorities not having a safe space, but the need of a safe space to begin with. If your government invests in something like this but doesn't actively try to solve harassment in the first place, then you're getting played on. I would, but some trains I take don't have enough carriages for this to be feasible. If they get annoyed, we can have a men-only and NB-only carriage too. In Mexico City we have those and many guys complain about them. But I do use them because it's a little bit safer. But there are women who doesn't know how to properly travel or behave in general, so it's about the same. Sadly, as an American, the first thing I thought was this would be targets by a 2A nut job. Sometimes living here is just too depressing. I wish as a society we would push back on this offensive behavior by men. Why do we women have to change our behavior because men don't know how to behave? Men need to be taught how and held accountable to follow the rules of civil society. Yes, I would absolutely use them. Have lived for years in NYC and now live in Paris. The amount of times some guy has rubbed his crotch on me or accidentally grabbed my boob or butt is already disgusting. Plus the times I've been flat out upskirted or groped. My fear is though that unless it's enforced, I doubt men would respect a woman-only car. I'd rather have more staffed trains. We have women-only cars in the Dubai metro and buses. And they're great. I once got felled up in a tram in Istanbul and I still struggle taking public transport outside of Dubai without freaking out. The tube in London could definitely use them as well. But I didn't have any issues. Overall, yes, every train bus should have women-only sections. No, I'd like sexual harassment to be dealt with properly. I don't like the idea of segregated spaces because it creates yet another way for women to ask for it. You know, why weren't you using the women-only carriage if you didn't want attention? I would like functional public transportation in my area. As someone that has been assaulted on mass transit, I would welcome this. I imagine women-only cars might be a bit cleaner, too. For some reason, light rail in my area smells a bit like a porta potty. Cigarette smoke are just not nice. I try not to breathe too deeply. They would probably get shot up where I live. Absolutely, this should be an option. I live in the Philippines and I thought this was the norm for every country. Very surprised to know that it isn't. Yes. Would 1010 use? We already have this AITA in the Philippines and I always use them commuting to and from work. There are women guards making sure it is enforced. Absolutely. I live in NYC and the amount of times I have been sexually harassed or assaulted on the train is ridiculous. If I had $1 for every time a dude whipped his nasty dick out right next to me, I'd probably have $10 at this point.